We are truly honored to welcome His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj. Maharaj, many young people follow on social media successful leaders as role models. When such leaders are involved in controversial cases like the Epstein files, it shakes their trust. What should youth do in such situations?
The reality is exposed. If people are not glorifying God, spirituality has to be free from personal motivation. You can have good sex life, you can have good health. It's all about the body.
If we scroll, let's say on YouTube or Instagram, there are many spiritual leaders presenting their own philosophy.
I'll give you an example. We were in Ujjain to some trainees in the police force. These were new young men that were going to train to become police officers. They were trying to push people to themselves. They're looking for followers, they're looking for some kind of pecuniary gains.
Hare Krishna. In a world where we spend hours scrolling, refreshing, and chasing the next dopamine hit, today we have with us someone who teaches how to experience real, lasting happiness beyond the screens. We are truly honored to welcome His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj, a senior monk and spiritual teacher in ISKCON, dedicated to sharing timeless wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita in a way that connects deeply in modern life. Over the years, Maharaj has traveled extensively across India and internationally, including North America, Europe, Russia, and parts of Southeast Asia, sharing practical spiritual wisdom with diverse audiences. Within ISKCON, Maharaj has been involved in youth outreach initiatives, temple development support, leadership training programs, and many more. So thank you, Maharaj, for taking out your precious time and having our discussion on the topic scrolling for happiness. So Maharaj, to begin with, the first question is for today's youth, that today many young people spend hours scrolling every day. They feel good while scrolling, but empty in long run. How they can overcome it?
Can they overcome the desire for scrolling, or how can they overcome the emptiness?
Ultimately, the emptiness.
Well, what are we scrolling? We're scrolling something to give our mind some stimulation, to get some knowledge of the activities of this world. We can expect that that type of information will stimulate the mind, but it won't reach you, the soul, the person. We have to understand we're spiritual beings, and we get nourished by spiritual topics, by spiritual activities, by spiritual philosophy. So if we scroll in that area, there won't be any emptiness, and there'll also be a type of nourishment and happiness that comes from that, only because that is our nature. On the material level, or mundane topics, the topics that do with the worldly activities, there's some stimulation while you're doing it, but it doesn't reach you, it doesn't reach the soul, it doesn't reach the heart. It just gives some temporary activity of the mind, and then after some time, when you're over, you feel like, well, what did I do? What did I gain?
Yeah.
There's some emptiness, there's some actually feelings that, I could have used my time better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, we are a spiritual being. We have a material body. We have needs for the body. We have needs for the mind. But philosophy, information, activities are more for the soul. Material activities are for the body. They come and go, and sometimes they give you some temporary stimulation and pleasure, but after some time they're gone. So we do the same scrolling. That's not, you don't have to give up scrolling. Just scroll things that are in relation to your actual nature, your eternal nature, your spiritual nature, about God, about who you are, about how this world works. And you will also find solutions to your material problems through spiritual activities. Material problems cannot be solved with material solutions because they just lead to more problems. For instance, we've solved the transportation problem, so now we can travel throughout the world quickly by various types of transports, planes, trains, and others. But what is the problem? You got pollution, you got crowded streets, you got anxiety, you got people dying because of these. So one problem is solved, and another five problems appear. That's how material solutions work with material problems. You create another problem. If you want to end the problem, apply spiritual knowledge to these problems, and you'll find you can do the same thing without the anxiety, without the frustration, and without the disappointment that comes when you try to solve material problems with material solutions. This is also mentioned in scripture too by one great sadhu named Prahlad Maharaj. He says that material solutions for material problems are more problematic than the problems. They create another problem. The solutions are on the spiritual platform because in connection with God or with our own spiritual nature, we actually rise above the material problems. We can deal with material problems without becoming, what we say, affected by the outcome. Because we have higher knowledge, we have higher connection, and that higher connection supersedes everything that we do on this level and gives us satisfaction, gives us direction in life.
Thanks, Maharaj, for beautifully answering that. You mentioned, Maharaj, that we don't have to give up scrolling. We have to have that, but it should be in the spiritual subject matter.
Yeah, we can do some scrolling on for mundane things, but not that it's going to solve our problems.
Yeah.
It's just going to give us just some mental stimulation. It takes up time. The problems are, what are the problems in this world? No one wants to die. No one wants to get old. No one wants to get diseased. Now, all of these are real problems. The solutions are them on the spiritual platform.
So, Maharaj, following up on that, if we scroll, let's say, on YouTube or Instagram, there are many spiritual, I mean to say, leaders who are presenting their own philosophy. So, how to reconcile that? Like, how, as a youth, I am scrolling through the internet, everybody's talk seems very logical, seems very attractive. They speak so nicely and eloquently, and they kind of, it seems like they are a very genuine people and they are trying to solve the problem. So how to understand which spiritual leaders are actually truly spiritual leaders, whom to follow, and what kind of videos should we watch?
I'll give you an example. We were in Ujjain, and we were asked to present Bhagavad Gita to some trainees in the police force. These were new young men that were going to train to become police officers. There were 500 of them. They came. So we presented Bhagavad Gita, explained what Bhagavad Gita is, how it can be used in a practical sense to carry out your services as a police officer also. And then we explained that the whole principle is to connect with the Supreme Lord, Krishna. And then at the end, we sold 100 Bhagavad Gitas. Now, the person who organized the program said we had many groups before who also came to speak about Bhagavad Gita, but they were speaking about themselves. We didn't come to speak about ourselves. We came to speak about Krishna, about Bhagavad Gita as a solution to the problems. They were trying to push people to themselves. And then the organizer said, when they came, nobody bought anything. But when they got something genuine, then they were inspired. So people can understand what is genuine and what is just something that is externally attractive but doesn't have any long range, results, effects. Doesn't reach the heart, doesn't reach the soul.
To summarize, Maharaj, what I understood is this intention really matters. The
Yeah,
people who are teaching you about spirituality, what intention they have? Are they promoting themselves,
yeah.
or are they promoting Krishna or
And
God?
you'll find most of them promoting themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're looking for followers. They're looking for some kind of pecuniary gains. We were not. Our movement is not that. Our movement is paropaka. Paropaka means to do good to others. We're not interested in trying to gain something from what we do. We want to see people become happy, become connected to God and to themselves. And that's what our books are about. That's what our teachings are about. That's what our tradition is about. If you read, you'll find that is the actual understanding. And of course, if you hear also. And many so-called spiritual leaders, they're looking for some name, fame, followers.
Sure.
You'll see that. Just listen to what they say. It always ends about them or about what you can do for them.
Yeah. Thank you, Maharaj, for answering that. Maharaj, next comes a very trending follow up question. Like many young people follow on social media successful leaders as role models. When such leaders are involved in controversial cases like the Epstein files, it shakes their trust.
Hmm.
What should youth do in such situations? What is your opinion?
Well, then the reality is exposed, and then you get away from that. Don't follow that type of, you know, what we could say. Don't follow that particular mode. If people are not glorifying God and talking about our relationship with God, then you can say there's a hidden agenda. There's another motivation. The motivation is personal interest. Spirituality has to be free from personal motivation. It has to be about God and for the benefit of others, not about what you're doing and how you can gain from that and how big your temples are or how big your followers are. It's not about that. It's about connecting people with the Supreme Lord. That's the essence. Our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, he never talked about himself. He always talked about Krishna. You're, you're an eternal servant of Krishna. Here's the process for reawakening your relationship with Krishna. He glorified Krishna. He glorified the process of coming to Krishna. He never spoke, it's about me. You have to give me this money. You have to do this. You have to chant this mantra and you'll become, God. He never spoke any of that stuff.
Yeah.
He spoke actual traditional spirituality, which comes actually from Krishna himself through the chain of what we call sadhus, or disciplic succession, those in line with Krishna. You have to see the motivation and the actual goal. What are these people saying? What is the goal of what they're saying? You can have good sex life. You can have good health. Yeah, it's all about the body,
Yeah.
not about the soul so much. They might speak about the soul, but then what is the conclusion? The Epstein files or something similar. Yeah. I mean, you can go down the list. There's a whole series of events in the past of such personalities presenting themselves as great spiritual leaders, but then they wind up getting involved with some kind of scandal. That happens a lot because they don't have any higher knowledge.
Hmm.
Yeah, so the world is full of cheaters. You have to find what is genuine, what actually inspires you in your relationship with God.
Thank you, Maharaj, for beautifully answering that. Maharaj, coming to the next question, which is mostly related to modern youths facing some relationship issues. The question is like in many cities, we are seeing a trend where many young people do not want to get married. Instead, they prefer live in relationships and often avoid taking long term responsibilities. How do you think this trend is affecting the youth and society in general? And what is your opinion on that?
Well, yeah, it's become a trend now because they see that when you actually make a commitment and a responsibility, if something goes wrong, then there is still some obligation in the relationship. They don't want that obligation. They don't want to take responsibility for what they have to do to make the relationship work. So if it works, fine. If it doesn't work, then we can just move on. It seems like it's an easy way, but what kind of relationship do you really have? It's based on something selfish. It's not really solid. The scriptures talk about married life, family life as the foundation for the social development of society, which leads to the spiritual development. Without the social foundation, this is called Varnashram Dharma, Varna and Ashram. Krishna speaks about that in the Bhagavad Gita. That this is required, that everyone take responsibility according to your swadharma, your nature, and work accordingly. So when it comes to married life, then it's something that's very important, that one enters into that with some desire to sacrifice some personal needs for a higher gain, to satisfy one's emotional and physical needs, fine. But if there's nothing binding that relationship, then if something goes wrong, then let's just move on. And then, but that's not really what we say satisfying, because you look towards the loophole if something goes wrong. Our philosophy is, if something goes wrong in your relationship in marriage, then you go to the scriptures, you go to the spiritual teachers, you go to your relationship with God, you find the answers, you pray, you keep your responsibilities, and the relationship can be revived again. Doesn't have to be given up because of some differences, some lack of feeling satisfied, or for whatever reason. It becomes cheap. It's not. It may look the same, but the substance is not the same. Life means responsibility. If you want to be good at anything or successful in anything, you have to take responsibility for what you need to do in order to make that happen. Not that, well, if it, I'll do it if I like it. If I don't like it, I move on. Do it with someone else or someplace else. There's no responsibility there. It's more like animal life. Animals,
Yeah.
they don't get married. They just go from mate to mate. Same thing. Yeah. So we it's not about simply on the physical level. Marriage is not about the physical level. It's about two people coming together to help each other to find happiness in life, and also to achieve the goal of life, which is our relationship with God. So we become uh, close to each other as supporting each other in achieving that same goal. One is helping the other is helping the other. And then the relationship becomes stronger, becomes deeper. Otherwise, it's just superficial. Superficial means something superficial will come and change it. Even if it lasts for a while, still, at any time, there is that loophole that somebody can just give it up at any time. There's no responsibility. Life means to accept challenges in a way that these challenges can help you grow. We grow through challenges. We grow through
Hmm.
difficulties. If we're looking for easy life, you'll never find it because life is not geared that way. Life means to accept responsibilities and the challenges that come with responsibilities, and using your intelligence and your God-given connection to help you move forward in life.
Hmm.
And that's how people grow. You grow in your character, your qualities, your relationships. The most successful people are people who have gone through difficulties
Hmm.
and accepted those difficulties as opportunities to grow in their life.
Hmm.
So when we don't want to make any commitment or any responsibility, then you'll never grow in life. Either in character or in our relationship with each other.
But many times, Maharaj, you young boys have this question or this problem that in general, uh, girls nowadays are not that chaste, not that I mean to say ready to support that relationship. Many times, the boys fear the alumni thing, kind of like if they have to get a divorce, they have to pay to their wife because of the divorce and as an alumni. So this kind of fear that strucks to them, and they kind of fears to get enter into the marriage life. This is one of the reasons why even very innocent kind of boys are getting that fear. So what's your point on that?
Well, I can't really say. You say the girls are not so chaste. I don't know. But the thing is, if there's no trust, then there's no relationship.
Mm.
I mean, any relationship you enter into, there's opportunities for things to change and go a different direction. That you have to work with and not allow that to happen. Marriage generally is for life, not that you can just jump from person to person because of situations make it difficult or something. So each has to take a responsibility. But you're not going to find, if you want Sita, you have to be Ram. And if you want Ram, you have to be Sita. So you can't expect one to be in one way and the other. So therefore, in building a relationship, take time. Get to know each other. Get to see if you're on the same, you know, you have the same interest in life. If you have the same nature.
Mm.
The Shastras say in friendship and marriage, two things have to be there: same nature, same liking.
Mm.
Nature means character,
Mm.
personality, mostly character, not personality. And liking means what is my direction in life. Mhm. So if you have people who are on the same direction in life in terms of how they want to live their life, that is one of the principles that will make that relationship successful. And then, of course, nature means people have different natures. And if you marry someone with with different nature, it may work, but you have to work a lot harder to make it work. So take some time, get some marriage counsel, do some astrology. I get involved with my disciples to try to help them, connect with their husband or their wife. But it's not so easy. You have to take time and give it a chance to make it work, get to know each other and see. And don't be afraid to change before you make the final
Mm.
thing. I mean, the statistics show that physical attraction wears off
Yeah.
after some time. Usually, after they say 2 to 3 years, then the relationship has to go to another level. You have to at least become friends.
Mm. Yeah.
But if you keep Krishna in the center, then you have some direction in life. Both are trying to become Krishna conscious or spiritually directed, and that will keep the relationship moving nicely. There has to be a foundation to the relationship, and not just, you satisfy my senses and I satisfy your senses, and when it doesn't work, there's divorce.
Yeah. Thank you,
That's
Maharaj.
not going to be that's not the basis of what we say happiness. Happiness comes from the heart. Happiness comes from our relationship with God and our relationship with others. If we make our relationship with God, then it becomes more natural and easy to find a relationship with others. But if we don't, then we're always in this quandary. Will it work? Will it not work? Will it work? Will it not work?
So, to understand, Maharaj, the central point is to have a common central foundation between
Yeah,
the relationship,
yeah,
and that is to grow in Krishna consciousness or God
yeah.
consciousness.
We say marriage means three:
Mm.
husband, wife, and Krishna.
Yeah.
Or, if you don't like the word Krishna, well, we're saying the Supreme Lord or God. Same thing.
Yeah.
Krishna is one of his names. Ram is there also. Or some of the other avatars who are also, the Supreme Lord. Whoever you worship, it should be the Supreme, not some, what we say, some movie hero or something. has to be has to be the Supreme Lord. And and guidance and direction is easy, it can be found if you look for it. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj, for such a beautiful answer. Now, I would like to have a small personal question, Maharaj. Like we see in many of your videos, that even at such an advanced stage of life, you are dancing in kirtan so enthusiastically. However, most young people lack this enthusiasm, even at a younger age. What is the secret behind this energy, Maharaj?
Well, I would say my connection with Krishna's name, when we chant the holy names of the Lord, we're actually connecting with Krishna. And when we do it in kirtan, it becomes a joyous experience. So that joyfulness inspires us to get to sing, to dance. So if we happen to come in kirtan and we feel we don't have that relationship with the Lord, we can still feel joyful because Krishna's in your heart. He's there within you. He sits within your heart always. He never leaves you, actually. So you have to give it a chance. If you give it a chance, it'll actually you can experience that happiness. It's called kirtan. Kirtan comes from the word kirti. Kirti, sometimes we give a girl's name as Kirti.
Yeah.
Kirti means fame.
Yeah.
So the Supreme Lord is the most famous. So when you do kirtan, you're glorifying the fame of the all-famous Lord. Or you're actually becoming famous in the eyes of God. So it's a wonderful experience. We like to sing and dance. We go to nightclubs or different kinds of parties and we sing and dance. Well, in order to do that, we have to take some intoxication in order to feel happy. But the holy name of God is the intoxication for us. So it's there. Everyone can have that same experience. Kirtan is the ultimate expression of happiness, and it's spiritual. There's no what we'll say. There's no negative after effect.
Yeah. Hangover.
Yeah, hangover. You could call it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So spiritual people are also intoxicated, but with the holy name.
Yeah, it's called transcendental intoxication. Where does intoxication come? It comes from God, but it has a different substance.
So,
Yeah. So we invite people to come to our temples and take part in kirtan and sing and dance. It's a wonderful experience. You don't have to get in. You don't have to pay money. It's free.
thank you, Maharaj. To conclude with Maharaj, I would ask the last question. Uh, if you had to give one life advice to today's youth, what would it be?
One,
If you have to give one life advice about life, about how to live life, how to lead life, an advice you want to give to today's youth, what would that be?
the things of this world, the people of this world, in all of their presentations on how you should live life, is just an arrangement for gaining something on the physical level. But happiness is on the spiritual level because happiness comes from the soul. When the soul is nourished by something spiritual, then the body, the mind become happy, not because of some external stimulus, but because of it, just simply by contact with that energy. So my advice is don't look for happiness in the things of this world. Find it in your own heart. There's a story. It's an analogy. It's kind of like a message. One man, he he's he hears that in the world there's a great treasure. So he makes his life mission to find that treasure, some wealth. So he's going here and there. He's hearing about where the treasure could be. He's getting maps. He's doing everything. He chases this treasure his whole life. And at one point, he gets old and he dies. Now doesn't find the treasure he's looking for. And then his relatives, they come, they take his body and bring him back to his house. And they dig a grave in the backyard to place his body in, and then they find the treasure there. So the treasure is in. We're looking for happiness outside, but it's inside. That's where real happiness is. Find it in your relationship with God, and you'll find it in your relationship with everybody. That's where it starts, and that's how it develops also. So focus on your spiritual energy, your spiritual qualities, your spiritual activities, and you'll find it'll express itself out in whatever you do in life, whether you're a college student, whether you're a corporate person. Still, you can still have positions in this world, be married, have family. But if you have that spiritual foundation, that connection, and everything becomes nice, it becomes satisfying. It doesn't become a big burden. It doesn't become a source of anxiety.
So kind of these two paths are not mutually exclusive.
No,
These
they're not.
some people have this doubt, like if I do devotion, then I have to leave everything.
No, no. There was this young man who came to see me yesterday. He's in college. He's going through his last year. But while he's going in college, he's also practicing spirituality, and he's also has some plans. When he gets out, he wants to get involved with certain type of business. Fine, that's okay. But keep the spiritual substance. Keep that connection with the holy name. We recommend devotees to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. We recommend everyone to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Spiritual sound is powerful. It awakens satisfaction. It connects us with the spirit, with Krishna, and it gives the mind peace. That's guaranteed. Everyone who chants always feels peaceful, at least. So yeah, if you're peaceful, then you can live life with all its challenges without becoming disturbed by whatever happens. You can somehow move through life. Yeah, so spirituality is our nature, and material life is a necessity, but still we have to have that connection with our nature before we can actually move forward in anything we do in life. If we don't know who we are, if we don't know where we're going, if we know why we're doing what we're doing, if we don't know what the results are going to be of what we're doing, then we'll just be going this way and that way trying to find it. Find it first in your relationship with the Lord, and then you'll find it everywhere else. Krishna is called Mula. Mula means root. If you feed the stomach, all the limbs of the body become nourished from the food. If you give the food to the ear, you don't get any benefit from the food. The stomach is the basis. So, therefore, Krishna is like the root of everything. When you water the root, and then the branches, the trees, the leaves, the flowers, everything connected with the tree becomes nourished. When we nourish our spiritual life, it expands out to everything we do. We have devotees, we have people in our society that are corporate executives, people who have big positions in the world. People do some different types of occupations, but still they worship the Lord. They keep that as their most important part of their life. It's not about poverty. It's not about, just stopping everything. It's about adding the essence. If you have a bunch of zeros, you have zero. You can have 100 zeros and your number is zero. But if you put a 1, then every zero makes that number 10 times greater. So that 1 is our relationship with God.
Thank you, Maharaj.
But we have
Yeah.
to work at that too.
Yeah.
It's there, but it requires some time, some focus.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, one very personal question I want to ask. Like, you got connected to ISKCON in 1970s.
73.
So, like, what is that you were feeling? What was there going in your life, and how you felt or how you got connected to ISKCON, and what was the reason why you felt that you got something from here,
I,
and
I
how is the journey ahead? How you have been since long connected here, and what's the journey you can briefly tell about?
well, my journey might not be so typical. I don't know. But I went to college. Didn't finish, but I went to college. I was in the army for 4 years.
Oh, you are an army man.
Yeah, I was in Vietnam for 18 months.
Okay.
I went through a lot of the things that I thought were going to give me satisfaction and happiness, but didn't. But then when I came across yoga and spirituality, I started reading books, and then finally it led me to coming to a temple. This was in America. And then I saw this was something that was I saw that the people who were engaged in these spiritual activities were genuinely happy. I saw people who were happy, and I was thinking, I want that too. It wasn't some show, it was actually they were happy. And they wanted to share that happiness also. So that was, I had tried a lot of things. I was a member. I was involved in political movements.
Okay.
I was involved with, you know, uh, trying to find, happiness through education. Nothing was, nothing actually reached me until I actually came in contact with the devotees of Krishna. And I can see I didn't give up anything. I just added something. So that was my good fortune. But everyone has good fortune. You just have to make it appear. No one wants to die, but the body has to end. The soul is eternal. The soul doesn't take birth or die. We are not the body, we are the soul. Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita. Never was a time that I did not exist, nor you, he's speaking to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, nor all these kings on the battlefield, nor in the future, so any of us cease to be. We are eternal. Question is, where do you want to go after you leave this body? And that's not up to you. But it is up to you by what you do now. If you live a spiritual life, then you'll return to the spiritual world, where life's eternal, full of knowledge and unlimited joy. If you live a life of, struggling to find happiness in the material world, you'll come back again to do it again, life after life. Mayadavase, Kacho Bese, Kacho Ho Bubu Dubai. That life after life. But then the rest of the verse goes, Jeev Krishna Das, Vishwas, Kolina Dukanai. We belong to the Lord. That is our eternal position. And when we connect again, then everything we do has it's nice. In other words, our relationships in this world is not about trying to find some happiness in that. It'll come automatically when we have a relationship with God, with Krishna. So it's there for everyone. You see, our movement is international. We
Yeah.
have people from practically every country in the world. Our base is Sridham Mayapur in Navadvip in West Bengal. We come together every year to celebrate the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, who is an incarnation of Krishna. And people come from all countries. And you'll see devotees together. There'll be one person from Africa, one person from Spain, one person from the United Kingdom, another person and they're all together worshiping the Lord. We get beyond all of these external differences. We connect with a higher principle.
Beautiful. Thank you, Maharaj. You wonderfully answered all the questions, and we are actually fortunate to have your association. So you have come to India for a very few short stay, and we got your association and had this wonderful question answer discussion. Thank you, Maharaj.
I love India.
Yeah. Thank you, Maharaj. And we also have for our audience some of the courses and sessions going on. Some are online, some are offline. So you can please check out those sessions uh, and register on these courses through the description link. And we'll put all the courses link in the description. So and also the contacts, you can contact to us for further courses about spirituality, about Bhagavad Gita, and so that you can actually connect spiritually to God. And what Maharaj told just now, actually nothing to leave, just to add. So thank you, Maharaj, and thanks everyone for being with us, and thank you, Maharaj, for the time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.